Imagine walking through the eerie, foggy streets of Ebisugaoka, every corner hiding something that wants to tear you apart. Now, in a place like this, having the right tools isn't just helpful, it's survival. That's where Omamori come in. These protective charms aren't just pretty trinkets, they're basically your lifeline in Silent Hill F. Each one gives you a passive ability that can completely change the way you play, whether it's keeping you alive a little longer, helping you move faster, or even giving you the edge in those tense encounters where one wrong step means game over. But here's the kicker. There are over 30 different Omamori in the game. That means you can't just grab everything and hope for the best. You've got to choose wisely. Your equipment slots are limited, and picking the right combo could be the difference between escaping Ebisugaoka's nightmares or becoming another tragic story etched into its cursed streets. So today, we're diving into which charms are worth your time, which ones are situational, and which ones you can leave to collect dust in your inventory. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking Omamori in Silent Hill F. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching! The Omamori in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, camel, turtle, cat, butterfly, bear, clam, hound, dolphin, elephant, and daisy. You ever look at an Omamori in Silent Hill F and think, wow, that sounds useful, but then you actually try it and suddenly you're like, wait, why am I even carrying this thing? Yeah, welcome to the world of C-tier Omamori, where the charms are technically helpful, but in practice, they're kind of the discount aisle of survival tools. Let's break these down one by one. First up, the clam. On paper, it decreases enemy line of sight, which sounds amazing for stealthy players. But here's the truth. Enemies in this game are not exactly security guards in a heist movie. Most of the time, you can sneak or just outright sprint past them without needing this charm. The clam basically turns into a peace of mind item that you rarely ever notice doing its job. Now let's talk about the hound. This charm restores your maximum sanity a little after defeating enemies. Sounds neat, right? Well, not really, because the game already refills your sanity completely once you leave combat, no matter the difficulty. So essentially, the hound is like buying an umbrella for your shower. It's there, but it's not doing anything meaningful. Moving on to the bear. This one greatly increases your stun power when your weapon's durability is low, and that sounds like a last-minute clutch mechanic. The catch is that your weapon is about to break anyway, so you only get to enjoy this extra stun for a few swings before your weapon shatters into disappointment. Imagine revving up for a knockout punch, but realizing your boxing gloves are made of paper. The cat Omamori is a funny one. It decreases damage taken while dodging, which can save you from those "oops, I mistimed my dodge" moments. That sounds nice, but here's the issue. There are plenty of other charms that just do survivability better, without forcing you to rely on your dodge game. It's like buying a helmet that only works when you trip over your shoelaces. Let's not forget the turtle. This charm greatly decreases damage as long as you are at full health. That can be clutch when a big attack comes out of nowhere. The stronger the attack, the more you feel the benefit. But here's the rub. It only works at maximum health. One little scratch, and suddenly you're just a normal person again. More consistent options exist, which makes Turtle a bit too situational for its own good. The Butterfly Omamori has a really tempting idea. It decreases stamina consumed by dodging. That means you can slip and slide around enemies like some kind of horror ballerina. But the trade-off is brutal. You cannot chain dodges continuously. In a game where enemies often throw out long combo attacks, this becomes a huge problem. So instead of looking graceful, you end up stuck mid-animation, waiting for a hit. Camel Time. This charm decreases the sanity consumed by charged attacks. That actually sounds helpful for anyone who likes winding up powerful strikes. But here's the catch. The Bull Omamori exists, and it does the same thing but better. Camel is like that old phone charger you keep in your drawer just in case. Technically useful, but outclassed by literally everything else in the house. And then there's Dolphin. This one restores a small chunk of maximum sanity when you pull off a perfect dodge. It's a cool little reward for precision, but sanity is already abundant on all difficulties. The net effect is like someone handing you a free bottle of water while you're standing in front of a vending machine stocked with water. Appreciated, but unnecessary. The elephant might be the boldest of the bunch. It prevents you from staggering when hit by normal attacks, which means you can keep swinging no matter what. That feels powerful, until you realize the price. You take greatly increased damage in return. Sure, you're a walking tank when it comes to momentum, but you're also made of glass when it comes to health. Not exactly a trade most players are willing to make. Finally, the Daisy Omamori. This one is for the absolute daredevils. With Daisy equipped, you get unlimited sanity and unlimited stamina. Sounds broken, right? Well, here's the twist. If you take any physical damage, you die instantly. That's right, one hit, and it's over. This charm is less about survival and more about bragging rights. If you manage to clear fights without a single scratch, Daisy turns you into a monster. But for most of us mortals, it's just a one-way ticket to frustration. The Omamori in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Blessed Hand Mirror, Horse, Wolf, Bamboo, Beetle, Weasel, Swordfish, Swallow, Shrew Mole, Crab, Otter, Whale, Willow, Cuckoo, and Peony. You know those items in games that are not exactly must-haves, but still feel nice to keep around, like that old hoodie you refuse to throw out? Yeah, that's basically the B-tier Omamori in Silent Hill F. They have their uses, sometimes even pretty strong ones, but there's always a catch that keeps them from breaking into the top spots. Let's go charm by charm and see what makes them good, but not great. Let's start with the Wolf. This charm increases your damage when your weapon durability is high. Sounds solid until you realize that weapons in this game wear down faster than cheap shoes on rainy pavement. Toolkits that fix your weapons are rare, and inside the Dark Shrine, durability doesn't even exist, which makes the Wolf feel like it showed up to the wrong party. The Horse is next, and it's kind of a funny one. It greatly decreases the amount of stamina you use while sprinting in fights. Problem is, who is sprinting in fights? Most of the combat in Silent Hill F is about dodging, attacking, and timing, not running laps like you're training for a marathon. So while it technically helps, the usefulness is pretty niche. Now, the Blessed Hand Mirror is a fan favorite. If you're about to take fatal damage, the mirror shatters instead, and boom! Your health, sanity, and stamina all come back to full. That's insanely powerful. The downside? It's a one-time use. Once it's gone, it's gone. So while it can save your life in a clutch moment, it's basically the equivalent of having one extra continue in an arcade game. Bamboo is straightforward. It increases your maximum sanity. Having more sanity means you can use focus attacks more often, which is always helpful. But at the end of the day, it's just a stat boost, not a game changer. You'll notice the difference, but you won't exactly be bragging about bamboo runs to your friends. The Crab has a cool effect. While you're using focus, your weapon durability doesn't decrease. That means you can unleash more powerful attacks without worrying about your weapon breaking. The catch? This is only really useful later in the game, and most boss fights happen in the Dark Shrine where durability doesn't matter at all. So half the time, Crab is just sitting in your pocket doing nothing. Then there's the Willow. This charm boosts the effectiveness of any item or Omamori that restores sanity. If you're someone who spams focus attacks like they're going out of style, Willow can give you more uptime. But for most players, it's a nice to have, not something you build your whole strategy around. The Whale is more about consistency. Whenever you use a healing item, you won't get interrupted by normal attacks. That means no more frustrating moments where you start drinking your healing juice and get smacked out of it. It doesn't make healing stronger, but it makes healing reliable. And honestly, that's worth something. Now, the Otter is sneaky good. After you defeat an enemy, your spare weapons regain some durability. That means if you like rotating through different weapons, Otter can help keep your arsenal fresh. But again, in the Dark Shrine where durability isn't a thing, it turns into a useless little trinket. Outside of that though, it's pretty handy. The Cuckoo is all about risk and reward. When your health is low, your damage skyrockets. The closer you are to death, the harder you hit. It's the kind of charm that turns you into a powerhouse, but also into a glass cannon that might explode at any second. If you like living on the edge, Cuckoo is your bird. Shrew Mole is in the same near-death family. When you're almost dead, dodging no longer costs stamina. That means you can spam dodges like crazy or just sprint away to find some healing. It's a nice fallback, but the problem is, you have to actually be nearly dead to get the benefit. Not everyone wants to play chicken with the Grim Reaper. The Swallow has a really interesting effect. Every time you land a counter without using focus, your damage increases, stacking up to 5 times. If you get hit, the stacks reset, so it rewards skillful, precise play. For players who can consistently land counters without messing up, Swallow can make you feel unstoppable. For everyone else, it's more like a minigame where the prize is disappointment. Now for the Beetle. This one makes your attacks deal a lot more damage to stunned enemies. On the surface, that sounds fantastic because, of course, you want to smack stunned enemies. The issue is that not every enemy can actually be stunned, so sometimes Beetle is doing work, and other times it's just a dead slot. Swordfish is a little more niche but fun. After you counter an attack, your stamina consumption drops to 0 for a short while. That means you can go on a frenzy of attacks, dodges, or sprints without worrying about stamina. It's great if you're good at countering, but if you rarely pull them off, you might never even see this charm light up. Finally, the Weasel and the Peony. The Weasel is spicy. It makes your normal attacks much stronger, but in exchange, you lose the ability to stun enemies. That's a serious trade-off because no stuns means no easy openings. It's pure damage, but also pure risk. The Peony, on the other hand, is chill. It heals you a little bit every time you pick up food items. Sounds good, but food items are not that common. It's like getting excited over a coupon that only works in one store you never visit. The Omamori in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Pine, Plum, Kudzu Leaf, Mantis, Sakura, Owl, Suzerain, Rabbit, Tanuki, and Goat. You know when an item isn't quite game-breaking, but every time you equip it you think, yeah, this just makes life easier? That's the A-tier Omamori. These charms don't completely flip the game on its head like the S-tier ones do, but they're the kind of reliable, powerful upgrades that make you feel smoother, safer, and deadlier without asking too much in return. Let's kick it off with the Mantis. This one restores a little bit of health every time you land a successful counter. On paper, that sounds amazing. Free heals while playing aggressively. But the catch is obvious. You actually have to pull off counters, and dodging is generally much safer. Still, if you're skilled enough, this Omamori can make boss fights way more forgiving by turning your precision into sustainability. Now, the Plum is as simple as it gets. It increases your maximum stamina. No gimmicks, no hidden trade-offs, just more gas in the tank. That means more dodges, more swings, and more flexibility. You don't need it to survive, but it's the kind of universal upgrade that's always handy to have, especially if you like to stay mobile. The Pine is its sibling, but with health instead of stamina. More maximum health equals more room for mistakes, and in a game as punishing as Silent Hill F, that's never a bad thing. Like Plum, it's not mandatory, but extra health can be the difference between dying to a boss combo and barely hanging on to land the finishing blow. The Sakura is a little more specialized. It enhances the healing you get from items and Omamori. That means your Crow or Mantis suddenly feel juiced up, and health-restoring items go further. It's especially clutch on higher difficulties where resources matter. Basically, it doesn't just keep you alive, it saves you supplies in the long run. The Owl is every focus addict's best friend. It greatly reduces the sanity cost of focus attacks, which means you can keep unleashing powerful strikes without burning through your resources. If focus is your go-to strategy, Owl is a no-brainer. It's not flashy, but it's one of those charms that quietly carries your whole game plan. Suzerain is for players who just can't nail the timing of perfect dodges. This charm makes them easier to perform, and since perfect dodges restore stamina, that's a big deal. Of course, you still need some level of skill because it's not an autopilot button. But for players who are close to mastering perfect dodges, Suzerain smooths out the rough edges and makes everything feel cleaner. Kudzu Leaf is like a 3-in-1 deal. More health, more stamina, more sanity. All of Hinako's resources get a boost. It's the ultimate generalist Omamori. You don't strictly need it, but it's always useful, and it never feels wasted. Think of it as the balanced meal option of charms. No surprises, just solid gains across the board. The Rabbit brings a lot of style. After you pull off a perfect dodge, you can immediately follow up with a heavy attack to unleash a devastating counter. The damage is huge, but the stamina cost is brutal, so you have to manage your resources carefully. It's not for everyone, but if you're good at timing and like big payoff moments, Rabbit is incredibly satisfying. Finally, we've got the Tanuki, and this one's clever. Instead of taking direct health damage, incoming physical damage gets converted into sanity damage. In practice, this gives you a second health bar, which is ridiculously helpful for surviving longer. The trade-off is that you might burn through sanity you'd otherwise need for focus attacks, but that's a small price to pay when it keeps you alive. The Omamori in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: boar, crow, spider, hawk, bull, and serpent. Now we've arrived at the cream of the crop, the S tier Omamori. These are not just good, they're the kind of charms that make you rethink your entire playstyle. Equip one of these, and suddenly the game feels smoother, faster, and honestly a little unfair, but in the best way possible. Let's start with the hawk. If you love focus attacks, this is your dream charm. Hawk drastically cuts down the charging time, which means you can pull off focus attacks quickly and consistently. Against bosses, that's extra damage during those stagger windows. Against mobs, it's just free carnage. Hawk turns focus into your bread and butter, not just a fancy side dish. Then there's the crow, the unsung hero of survival. Every time you defeat an enemy, you get a small chunk of health back. It doesn't sound dramatic until you're in a long stretch with scarce healing items. Suddenly, Crow feels like a portable life insurance policy. On higher difficulties where every heal matters, this charm keeps you topped off without burning through your precious consumables. The boar is all about stamina, and stamina is everything in Silent Hill F. This Omamori speeds up your stamina recovery and shortens the dreaded out-of-breath state. Translation: you get to swing more, dodge more, and spend less time gasping on the floor like you just ran a mile in flip-flops. It's consistency, it's aggression, it's pure action fuel. Now the spider keeps your weapons in the fight longer by greatly reducing durability loss on light attacks. Outside of the Dark Shrine, where weapon durability matters, Spider makes a huge difference. It lets you lean on your weapons without constantly worrying about them crumbling in your hands. More swings, less stress, simple and powerful. Finally, we have the Bull and the Serpent. Bull makes heavy and charged attacks cost far less stamina, which means you can spam some of the hardest hitting moves in the game without collapsing into exhaustion. That's raw power on demand. And then there's the Serpent, the flashy one. It automatically performs counters for you when the prompt appears, at the cost of maximum sanity. Sure, your sanity regenerates slower, but who cares when you're dishing out perfect counters without even thinking? Serpent turns defense into offense on autopilot, and that is peak S-tier energy. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.